she lies, but she's a lowlife. And she's a very low IQ person and a lowlife. And I don't imagine the Democrats are going to have a person like that running their party. If they do, they'll never win an election again.
It was one of those political bombshells that didn't just land, it detonated. A rally crowd was roaring, red hats waving in unison, flags fluttering in the spotlights. On stage, Donald Trump did what he always did best: build up the suspense, puff out his chest, and drop a line designed to dominate tomorrow's headline. They gave me an IQ test, folks, and I scored an incredible 180, one of the highest scores you can possibly get.
An IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right.
The audience erupted. Supporters laughed, clapped, and repeated the number like it was gospel. Phones shot up to record the moment while Trump spread his arms wide, basked in the cheers. For a few seconds, he wore the crown of genius he had placed on his own head. But outside that arena, the reception was different. Fact-checkers hunched over keyboards. Reporters exchanged glances. Medical experts seeing the clip online furrowed their brows. An IQ of 180, not only extraordinary, but nearly unheard of. And if true, surely the records would exist. Within hours, the story wasn't just a boast. It was a question mark hanging over the entire political world. No one sees that question faster than Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Unlike most critics who just rolled their eyes, she came prepared. For months, Crockett had been piecing together, whispers, gathering contacts, and building quiet bridges to former White House staff.
Let me be clear. I have a lot more education than he does. This is just what it is, degree-wise. I have earned my degrees. My daddy didn't have to make a phone call to get me into anything.
And through those channels, she obtained what almost no one outside Trump's inner circle had ever seen: the actual cognitive exam he took during his presidency, the very test behind his larger-than-L life claim. What she found wasn't genius. It wasn't even close. When the day came, Crockett didn't simply drop the information. She staged it, walking into a televised committee hearing with a thick leather-bound folder tucked under her arm. She carried herself like someone who knew she was holding dynamite. The cameras followed her every step. Seasoned reporters instinctively leaned forward. They had seen folders like this before, and they rarely contained anything good for the man on the receiving end, especially from those who have held the highest office in the land. She began to read, and what came out was not a high-level IQ challenge for the gifted, not a Mensa exam, not complex logic puzzles. It was the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, the MOCA, a simple screening tool used primarily to detect early dementia. One of its opening tasks: name pictures of animals. Another: remember 5 common words for a few minutes. Hardly the Everest of intellectual testing. The room shifted, eyebrows raised, cameras clicked faster. Crockett pressed on. When shown a line drawing of a penguin, Trump had confidently written "snow chicken." A muffled laugh escaped the back of the room. When shown a rhinoceros, he scribbled, "unicorn with skin problems." The absurdity washed over the hearing room in waves. And then came the clock exercise. Asked to draw a clock showing 10:11. Trump placed nearly all the numbers on one side of the circle. The attending physician had politely noted the error in the margin. Crockett read it word for word. The silence that followed broke into nervous laughter, then into stunned disbelief. Social media exploded in real time. The hashtag #TheShawSnow chicken trended within minutes, ricocheting across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Late-night comedians barely had to write their jokes. The split-screen comparison of Trump bragging about 180 IQ and Crockett reading his test answers was comedy, delivered by reality itself. But Crockett didn't let it become only a punchline. She reminded the room why it mattered. For years, Trump had built a myth around his health, stamina, and brilliance. Glowing medical letters, some ghost written by Trump himself, vague boasts of perfect scores, carefully staged doctor visits. It was a brand, a shield against critics. And now, piece by piece, that shield was splintering. She paused, closed the folder halfway, and looked directly at Trump's allies on the committee. This isn't about comedy. This is about deception. A pattern of lies sold to the American people to maintain an illusion of infallibility. The weight of the words settled heavier than the laughter, and she wasn't finished. With a small knowing grin, Crockett hinted this was only the beginning. More documents, more inconsistencies, possibly even sworn testimony from a former White House physician. The suggestion alone was enough to send shockwaves through political war rooms. If this was just Chapter 1, what could come next? The fallout was immediate. Conservative pundits rushed to defend him. Some claimed the test was misinterpreted. Others insisted all cognitive exams were basically IQ tests. Trump himself erupted online at midnight, blasting Crockett as a low IQ maniac, apparently forgetting she is a woman, and vowing to take a new, even higher IQ test administered by the best people. The promise only deepened the absurdity. Donors quietly called aides to ask if there was more to the